good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. Dima, my brother's music. So, guys, we all know about this Russell Simmons situation, and it is a lot to unpack. And of course, this is happening a day after Father's Day, actually on Juneteenth, where pretty much what we have is a situation where Russell Simmons feels like he was being disrespected on Father's Day. And what pretty much happened, I believe, the young women in, his daughters, one of them wished Kimora Lee Simmons a happy Father's Day. And this is when Russell Simmons came out with this particular quote: "Anger music, stop telling fathers they should have fought far harder to see their children and start asking mothers why he had to fight at all." So this post was kind of the beginning of the catalyst, in my honest opinion, because again, this is something that happens with a lot of men, especially black men. And a lot of times there's always issues with, once you break up with your wife or girlfriend or something like that, people move on, but then there's always money issues. There's always some convoluted issues there, and you want to be in your kid's life. But what happened is that the mom is always telling the kids about what you did. And that's almost every guy understands that. You may have kids, you may love them, but then the kids tend to take the mom's side over the father's side. And I know that all too well, because that happened in my situation, even though my mom was real cool, but I was willing to take my mother's side more than my father's side until I got a little bit older, okay? So then what happened is, we also got to understand this is a very interesting situation between Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee Simmons. Now, he is much older than Kimora Lee, all right? Kimora Lee Simmons is from St. Louis. She was a model. Russell Simmons was always successful, had a lot of money. And him finding her is pretty much, in my honest opinion, what put her on the map, all right? However, after divorcing her, she ended up making a few different moves, all right? The first thing she did was she got with Diamond Hassanu. I don't know how to pronounce it, but she got with Tim Leisner. Now, Tim Leisner is this particular banker that was working with Goldman Sachs. And as you know, he got, I believe now he's probably in jail for fraud. He stole like $200 million from a Malaysian sovereign wealth fund. And also, not only is that the case, but Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee Simmons and this guy, Tim Leisner, still did business and owned businesses after the fact. And Russell Simmons' businesses was losing money because of the shiesty behavior of Tim Leisner. So they were so cool, they would go on family vacations and things like that. But Russell Simmons was still getting scammed by Kimora Lee, allegedly, and Tim Leisner. And due to that, it created a certain level of hostility. Not only that was he still going through that, but still going to custody court and having to still pay money, which of course led to a strained relationship with his daughters once they got a little bit older. So a lot of the conversations would stem from, like I said, he would talk to his daughters and stuff like that, and it would come back to that. And so I want to play, because there's so much information that can go here, right? But I first want to play Kimora Lee Simmons, her particular thing that she had to say, which I think a lot of this is phony and fake, right? Acting like she didn't have anything to do with it. I'm going to play that, and then I'm going to come back.
And I never get into this. I usually let people go and rant and rave. It's funny, though, how this particular person in question, because I could go in on a few of them, one by one. But it's funny how this particular person, if you, again, go look back, you'll see on their page that they post all these pictures like we're together, like we're friends. They've even posted pictures and then said, like, I just got off the phone with my kids. They sent me this great picture. None of that's true. I like receipts. So, of course, I have text messages. I have messages from all my kids. You can go and see. I think the bottom line, like probably the breaking point for all of this was over the past many months, when their dad just sort of cut them off. He was contributing a little bit of cash to their like monthly, college spending, not much, a couple $100 probably, maybe $500, maybe And so one day he just kind of cut the kids off. There was no more money coming in, no more like allowance, quote unquote allowance. I think he probably did that just to double up the expenses on me, which is no problem. I stepped up, I did it. But when he did this, it was around just before finals and graduation. It was some months ago, just before finals and graduation. And he did it without telling the kids or talking to the kids or anything. He did it, it's funny, after he did an interview with, I heard some clips from an interview with this young man. I don't know, but I see him a lot. I think his name is Academic or DJ Academic. Oh, happy Juneteenth, you guys. We're doing all this on Juneteenth. Come on, let it go. Let it out. So I saw in that clip, that was some months ago too. You can go and reference it and find it, where he told this guy, he was on and on about this guy. And I think it was about old school hip hop heads and how you should honor them, which I believe you should. But he was saying to the guy, like, I'm so rich, I got this and I got that, and I'm this and that. None of that could be further from the truth. You know, he has turned around, and then again, I have records and evidence of this where he's told the kids in writing, we have it, text messages, I'm broke, I this, I that, I can't, you know, go get it from your mom. Now, meanwhile, I have been financially carrying this person probably for the last at least 10 years, myself and my ex-husband. Again, this is all proven with receipts, so if whatever, somebody doesn't like what I'm saying, you know, we can talk about it. We can come, we can open up our receipts. I love it. I love receipts. But I've taken care of this person to the tune of many, many, many millions of dollars to help with their bills, their overhead, their companies that they run into the ground, their unsuccessful bids, all of their stuff. I don't necessarily speak for my kids, but I think I could take probably a good shot at it. They're sleeping right now because it's not even 8:30 in the morning. But my two oldest girls, they're young women. They're young women of the world. I think that was very tough for them, that their dad like kind of cut them off and cut off conversation and cut off helping them. And he's even said things to them like, why did you go to college? You shouldn't have gone to college. You wasted that money. You could have saved it. While I'm up here trying to hustle the kids over the finish line. And just start to see my kids. We didn't just go through a divorce. We went through this divorce, I don't know, 20 years ago, 20 some odd years ago. So this is not a situation, again, you can get receipts, you can go see where they say like, oh, kids been brainwashed, but we've been fine up until these past several years. So, you know, what happened? All of a sudden now the kids are brainwashed. All of a sudden now these young women who are grown women are babies. You know, they have their own relationship with you. You have your own not existent relationship with them. I'm just asking that you please leave us alone. You know, I've tried to go to lawyers and get help. I've tried to show all the crazy texts I've had to block. Like, you do crazy shit, like send flowers to yourself and take a picture and post it on the gram and tell everybody I sent you flowers. Again, I have receipts of all of this. I have receipts from your office saying that you sent flowers to yourself.
Now I'm going to play, I don't know if this is Aoki. One of the daughters just graduated from Harvard, I believe it was Ming. But let me play what they had to say about, you know, they're crying, putting it on thick. And then obviously, you know, there's elements of, you know, her screen recording him yelling, although we don't know what he's yelling about, which I think that's some BS. But let me play what she had to say, crying and all this, and we're going to come back.
I did also want to come on here and say that I can't, between a lot of people who are close to him and who have experienced how he has, just lashed out at anyone he can and completely changed the person that he is. A lot of us feel like maybe something's wrong, like mentally, I don't know. He's older, bipolar, I don't know. But he has completely changed. I will come on here and talk about whatever I want because it's my life and I'm the one suffering. So, he has completely changed. The couple texts I just had, those are only the beginning. I'm gonna go through them if he's gonna, I don't want to post a ton. But if he tries to say that, like, it's not happening, I have screen recordings, I have voice memos of things that it doesn't sound like a human being. He's, like, shrieking and yelling, and, he sounds, like, possessed. So, I will say, I'm not even sure if it's like to his credit, but the best explanation I have is something mental going on, because I used to be very close to my dad. He used to be a good co-parent, close with my mom, my stepdad. He was his godfather to my little brothers. We all went on vacation together every year, like very close, well after the divorce. Everyone was really happy. When he had business ventures, my mom would invest in them, like good friends. He'd come stay with us, like we'd come stay there. We'd like all the time, everyone together. And then really he suddenly just decided that like if we don't agree, it's, oh, you're all like your mother, I hate you, always the same. Oh my, I mean, he's just a different person. Like he has like looked me in the eye and I've been like, I need help. I was in Greece doing the camp and I was like, you cut off my debit card. I only got like couple $100 a month as a minor. And I was like, I'm in a foreign country and my debit card won't work. I can't even add money to it. Can you help me? And he was just like, no, I sure hope that you don't die on the streets of Thessaloniki. And I was like, no, like I'm really stranded out here. I need help. And he's like, well, maybe you should ask your mother not to sue me. And I'm like, you're suing her. And he's like, well, maybe when you decide you're gonna like be reasonable, I'll help you. And I'm like, this is unsafe. It's nighttime. What? You cut me off out of nowhere. And he did it like on purpose. He was like, oh, enjoy camp. I put like, you're good to go. I put money in your car. And then he cut it off when I landed. So I'd be stranded. My mom helped me. It was fine. Worse things have happened. I'm just saying he'll like look me in the eye and be like, well, maybe when you just decide to, like, threatening me. So I felt that was important to include, because if we do continue to get into it and some of the things that I post are going to look crazy, and I agree, they're crazy, and it would honestly make me feel better if something was severely wrong, because this is just not the father that I know or the father that I've had. You know, like, to this day, I would never let a man talk any kind of way to me because my dad was always good to me, and then he just completely changed. So I just want to include that it could be that, and I don't know his mental situation, but like he used to do kind of crazy stuff, and then say he had COVID, so we'd all call him, or if we'd say, hey, I need some space because all you do is tell me how awful I am and how I have my mom's awful cunt genetics. So, hey, like I'm in school, and can you not harass me when I'm in school? He wasn't paying for school, by the way. Can you not harass me? And then I would say, I'm going to take some
So, again, they had screenshots, crying. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not trying to say that the guy is perfect here. But what I want to say is this. Russell Simmons got a bad end of a deal in this particular matrix. Number one, he chose the wrong woman. We just got to be honest. Kimora Lee Simmons is, in my honest opinion, a woman that was out of his league the entire time. Russell Simmons is 65. She was 48. There was no way that she wanted to be with him, period. All right? She was only there for his money. She was only there for that. That's what it was. All right? That was a mistake. Now, all of the money that, I believe he's lost a lot of it. He suffered a lot behind the divorce financially. He's still bitter about that. And now the kids have turned against him. Could have been some of his own doing, because you had all those allegations from these other ladies out there that came out. But at the same time, here's a man that's just kind of powerless in how he lost his family. And that's what people are not talking about. And what folks are not talking about is the fact that Kimora Lee and the other guy lost a lot of his wealth, all right, that this guy built. This guy built one of the greatest hip hop companies in the world. He even helped her start Baby Fat. Kimora Lee Simmons wasn't doing nothing before she met Russell Lee Simmons. Hasn't done nothing since then, to be fair. All right. Now, she's saying that before, he turned his back on the kids. They didn't have enough money and all of those things. Number one, those kids are adults, I believe. As much money as you helped him lose. And if those kids don't respect him, he don't owe those kids nothing. I'm sorry. He don't. You're the one saying that you was carrying him. How can you carry somebody? I mean, just look at how silly that sounds. How can you carry somebody in business? You don't know how to run a business. And you and your guy the guy you're married to is a scam artist. Again, we're not hearing this guy's what he had to say. This guy is obviously upset for a reason. And I'm not saying the way he handled it was right. And I know that, like I said, bullying people or roasting people or whatever. I know family can get like that. But his side of the story is not being told, And this woman was not worth marrying. I'm sorry. She's just not. And the guy, he even tried to play it cool after the fact. He was still going on trips with you and your new husband. He was still trying to be business partners, still trying to be in the kids' lives. I don't think the guy gets enough credit for what he tried to do, but that's what happens, guys. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again. Another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Put your follow, subscribe to the bell. We're out.